Chinese police can insult civilians to their faces, beat those they consider disobedient, and even steal from citizens' shops without being held accountable.
Are you cooperating or not? Are you cooperating or not? The police are clearing the area. Move forward.
Please don't use force.
Move quickly. No filming allowed.
In the video, a woman in white and other civilians in plainclothes are gathering near a failed financial company to protest. Such protests are not allowed in China, so a large number of uniformed police appear on the scene. To forcibly disperse the crowd, these police officers shout at the financial victims and even push them around, appearing very arrogant and intimidating. In another video, a group of uniformed urban management officers called Changguan arrive at a butcher shop and suddenly grab the pork displayed in front of the shop without any warning. Chinese netizens mockingly say, "These are just a bunch of bandits who have entered the city." In today's politically sensitive and distorted Chinese society, chaos is rampant. Under the Chinese Communist Party's rule, the system's corruption and misconduct and many policies have reached the point of harming the nation and its people. From officials to civilians, everyone is numb. As long as it doesn't affect their personal interests, they willingly act as tools for the CCP, thinking that this is the only way to climb the ranks and protect their interests. Little do they know, the benefits they think they have secured for themselves and their families can disappear in a single order from the CCP government. However, there are still some conscientious survivors in China. They are patriotic but have no way to serve their country, and are even forced to act against their conscience. Recently, an anonymous insider submitted an article to the Epoch Times, exposing many secrets within the CCP government. The article is divided into several parts. The first part records the content of municipal-level meetings attended since 2024, where major leaders conveyed how various regions should revitalize assets and cut costs under the current economic situation. A closer look at this content reveals the CCP government's shameless actions. The second measure states, during the peak period of the real estate market, state-owned enterprises in various regions should acquire all types of land. When they cannot develop it themselves, they should actively seek social capital to take over the development or mortgage it to banks for loans and debt repayment, while properly assessing the environment in the process. In simple terms, the government offloads unsellable lands to developers who can develop it. If the burden of the land cannot be offloaded, it is packaged and mortgaged to banks to obtain funds. A similar policy is the third measure, which requires that state-owned tree plantations be managed at the municipal level. If the forests are water sources, they should be converted to reserve forests. Third-party institutions should be commissioned to package them, with the management and operational rights leased or mortgaged for 30-year terms. If they need to be included in the National Development and Reform Commission's project library, efforts should be made to include them to obtain bank loans. The fourth measure involves packaging the management and sewage treatment fees of water companies together for financing and loans. The seventh measure includes mortgaging the management rights of reservoirs. The 12th measure involves introducing third-party platforms to manage funeral homes and school canteens to obtain funds. In addition to the government borrowing usage rights, management rights, and ownership to obtain funds, they're also trying to increase revenue. For example, the 13th measure mandates close cooperation between public security, prosecution, and courts to crack down on various illegal activities such as pyramid schemes, illegal fundraising, and vice activities. Seized funds should be promptly added to the state treasury, and revenue from fines and confiscations must be equal to or higher than last year. The 14th measure requires tax departments to thoroughly investigate and severely punish tax evasion. The 15th measure instructs local state-owned enterprises that cannot obtain financing due to debt to find ways to form new companies for financing. The 16th measures involve local banks finding ways to obtain financing, effectively robbing funds from capital and the public to ensure the survival of the government and banks. The CCP government does not care about the profits of capital or the livelihoods of the people. Thus, the direct cause of the increasing number of local banks going bankrupt is that local governments continuously borrow from banks using various methods, leading to a breakdown in funds and inability to repay loans. These secret measures of the local CCP governments are also reflected in the central government's policies. For example, the 2023 Central Economic Work Conference and the fourth meeting of the Central Deepening Reform Commission hinted at a new round of fiscal and tax system reforms. This was also mentioned in the Government Work Report at the two sessions in March this year. Regarding this policy, reports from Yi Cai on January 12th and Cai Xin on June 24th this year compared it to the 1994 tax-sharing reform and the 2014 fiscal and tax system reform, noting that the current economic situation is very different. The CCP's finances are lacking, leading to serious issues such as local debts. Comparing the fiscal policies of the two previous reforms with the current one, the 1994 tax-sharing reform primarily established a tax return system from the central to local governments, leaving administrative power to the local level and fiscal power to the central level. This led to rapid economic growth in China for the next 20 years, with fiscal growth even outpacing GDP growth. Additionally, the central government allowed local governments to sell land to increase revenue, which expanded rapidly after the CCP injected 4 trillion yuan to save the economy in 2008. Today, the local government's heavy debt is a consequence of the tax-sharing system. The fiscal and tax reform that started in 2014 was only implemented in recent years, further centralizing fiscal power and causing phenomena such as the accelerated loss of manufacturing, wealthy individuals emigrating overseas, and continued slowing economic growth. Other after-effects include corruption due to local fiscal deficits. A June 30th report from Cai Xin mentioned that at the recent 14th National People's Congress Standing Committee meeting, the head of the National Audit Office released the 2023 audit report, which covered the audit of special funds and the Rural Student Nutrition Improvement Program. The National Audit Office focused on 231 billion yuan in subsidy funds from 2021 to August 2023 in 159 counties across 13 provinces. They found that 66 counties directly diverted 19.5 billion yuan for debt repayment and other expenditures. Another 41 counties and 1,533 schools intercepted or embezzled 2.7 million yuan through means such as lowering meal standards and fabricating procurement transactions. Some local departments colluded with winning suppliers to extract state subsidies for welfare distribution. Additionally, some catering units engaged in illegal operations, cutting corners and substituting inferior products for meal preparation. There were also issues with direct assignment of meal procurement contracts, rent-seeking and supervision, and other problems. Mismanagement and misuse of funds for the Rural Student Meal Program are not uncommon. A 2017 report revealed that meal fees and school operating expenses are often intercepted and embezzled by school authorities in remote and impoverished areas. In the comment section of the news article, Chinese netizens expressed their dissatisfaction. Some said, "The government encourages having children like this? They have no bottom line." Others remarked, "What good does it do to discover this problem? Has there been any improvement over the years? They only bully rural children, even saving on meals to lighten the state's burden." Another netizen revealed, "Not only are rural nutrition meal subsidies misappropriated, but those in the cities are also taken by insiders. To save money, the children's meals contain only fatty meat without lean meat, so how can the children be healthy? If they eat, they get fat. If they don't eat, they stay thin. This is practically a colonial government." Some netizens also expressed their discontent with the CCP's government's mistreatment of domestic students while lavishing money on foreign students. They said, "The CCP dares to embezzle student meals, but gives so much money to African foreign students." A financial observer based in the United States, Ching Peng, explained the main reason behind all of this on the Epoch Times program. He stated that the principle of the party leads everything is to blame. Over the past decade, the CCP's various manipulations have greatly harmed enterprises and civilians. The rapidly developing real estate economy and land finance have also collapsed. The Chinese government has driven itself into a dead end. Returning to the previously leaked article, it also documented corruption cases in various fields of the Chinese government, mainly those not disclosed to the public. In the realm of political and legal corruption, the whistleblower described the entire field as thoroughly rotten. One example from the article is the undisclosed details of the 2019 investigation into Huang Mingdong, the former deputy political commissar of the Wuming branch of the Nanning Public Security Bureau. While serving as the head of a local police station, Huang Mingdong was already suspected of raping an underage girl. Together with other police leaders and government officials, he entrusted local gangs to send money at high interest rates to make huge profits. To secure promotions, suppress reports, and strike down opponents, he bribed district public security officials and Ministry of Public Security leaders multiple times with large sums of money. Huang Mingdong's case involved at least 10 millions of yuan in bribery and illegal gains, far more than the reported millions. The bank account of a gang leader under his control contained over 100 million yuan. This case is not an isolated instance of corruption in the public security system. The local public security system is thoroughly corrupt, with leaders in various departments involved in using their positions for personal gain, embezzlement, and breaking the law. In addition to protecting various illegal activities like gambling and drugs, they helped criminals get out of jail, reduce sentences, and make huge profits. They even used police cars to help drug dealers transport drugs, colluded with gangs to monopolize the beer, construction, building materials, and mining markets, and sent detained thieves to commit thefts in other areas, pretending to arrest them to share the profits. Brothels had to first cater to the local police when hiring new women. These behaviors completely undermined the image of the People's Police. At the end of each year, the police stations and various public security sectors held so-called police community networking meetings, inviting local gambling, drug, and entertainment venue bosses who had to pay tributes. Investigations into public security corruption revealed that leadership positions like station chiefs, team leaders, deputy bureau chiefs, and deputy political commissars were openly for sale, forcing lower-ranking officers to buy their positions. Such practices are rampant in the public security field. The collective corruption and criminalization of the booming public security is just one example. There's also the barbecue assault case in Tangshan involving Chen Zhiji, and a case in Yunnan where a perp received the death penalty but was not put to death. In addition, there's medical corruption. In 2023, China launched an anti-corruption campaign in the pharmaceutical field, but it ultimately became a hollow exercise, as no area in the pharmaceutical sector is clean. Thus, only a few token individuals were targeted to appease public opinion. Similarly, there's corruption in education and agriculture. Despite 9 years of compulsory education, the Chinese education system is increasingly competitive due to propaganda, with parents spending millions on their children to ensure they stand out. This indicates that education has become a commercialized industry, making schooling increasingly expensive. Regarding agriculture, to cope with inspections by the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection and Audit Departments, local granaries resort to burning grain warehouses and transporting grain across regions to pass inspections. Wherever the inspectors go, the grain follows. Corruption in China is all-encompassing. In many corruption cases, the amounts publicly disclosed by officials are significantly less than the actual amounts involved, usually reduced by an order of magnitude. This is mainly to protect the government's image and maintain the CCP's rule. In reality, a township-level official who has held a leading position in a government department has typically embezzled at least 1 million yuan. For county-level officials, it is generally tens of millions, as the county party secretary position alone costs at least 3 million yuan. Without embezzling, they cannot recoup their investment. Some county-level officials have embezzled over 100 million yuan. For example, Ma Chaochun, who was once the general manager of a Beidaihe water supply company and a deputy researcher at the Qinhuangdao Urban Management Bureau, embezzled over 200 million yuan despite being a deputy county-level official. Another example is Xu Changyuan, a former party secretary and director of the Jinzhou New District Management Committee in Dalian, Liaoning Province. He owned 2,714 properties and 142 luxury cars, with almost every item valued at over 1 million yuan. In the latter part of the article, the author mentioned high-level secrets of the CCP government, the most shocking of which are organ harvesting and the after-effects of the COVID-19 vaccine. The author noted that, under big data, everyone's information is transparent, which explains why people have frequently gone missing in recent years, with many of the missing people's organs being harvested. A friend of the author's uncle, a major provincial leader, needed treatment in Beijing for leukemia. The uncle used his connections to arrange treatment, and the chief doctor directly informed him that there were 5 matching healthy organs available for him. This same friend, while undergoing treatment for leukemia, was told by the chief doctor that his condition was the result of the COVID-19 vaccine, and neither his parents nor his ancestors had a history of leukemia. The friend learned through casual conversations with doctors that most chief doctors nationwide refused to get vaccinated for various reasons, and that members of the Central Committee and above had generally not been vaccinated. The monopolization of the employment system has also become a major anomaly in China. Due to economic recession in recent years, many graduates have rushed to take civil service exams, which is a sad reality for ordinary people. The children of high-ranking officials generally do not need to take these exams. They typically entered state-owned enterprises or public institutions without exams, gain ranks, and then transfer to government agencies. For instance, they might start as managers or deputy chairmen in state-owned or central enterprises like water supply companies or local investment companies. Then they move to government departments or agencies, or enter through special recruitment channels, such as for overseas students. In the 2022 flaunting wealth incident reported by a state-owned enterprise in Jiangxi, the person involved, Zhou Jie, spoke the truth about CCP government corruption, which is why he stated bluntly that all the money in their family comes from the chives, a term for exploited common people. Currently, Chinese society is essentially monopolized by powerful families and authorities, making it nearly impossible for a commoner's child to rise to the rank of a county-level official within this system. Finally, the author expressed that his purpose in writing so much is to break the illusions many have about the CCP. He writes from the perspective of someone within the system. Only by ending the CCP's rule can China have a bright future. If the CCP does not fall, every Chinese citizen will continue to be a source of sustenance, and the wealth embezzled by every official and police officer is known to the CCP. The consequences just haven't come yet.